Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. The latest, the mayor of Fort Lee has said that he accepted Governor Chris Christie's apology. He believes that the city of, or the borough of Fort Lee is on good grounds with the governor and his office. He said the mayor apologized, and as I said, he accepted it. He said that the investigation is ongoing, and he's satisfied right now by what the governor had to say, but both the governor and the mayor say they're on the same page and that they want to find out more of what has taken place here, and that the investigation will hopefully be fruitful in that respect. Now, earlier you heard me mention, if you were listening and watching in the previous hour to our friend Kendall Coffey in the Spinning the Law segment, I said to him that the former Port Authority official at the center of this whole scandal, who resigned and was allegedly the childhood friend of Governor Christie, he's been held in contempt by state lawmakers in New Jersey for refusing to answer questions today. I said to Mr. Kendall Coffey, I said, can you be held in contempt for taking the fifth? And he said, no. Well, New Jersey did it. They did it to him. Now, he's not in jail or anything. As a matter of fact, they said that they plan to file a contempt charge or contempt charges with law enforcement. I'm not sure really about that. Okay. Could you give Rich a call and just confirm? We'll go back to yesterday's sheet because it should probably be the same one. Okay. Anyway, so I don't understand how that is actually how you hold someone in contempt for taking the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment is obviously a constitutional right. So we will see. We'll see. Time will tell. But I think it's important that we note here that what happened today, and who would have thunk it? 24 hours ago, I was with these people who were saying it's over. I went home and tweeted and put on Facebook, by the way, at Steve M Talk. At Steve M Talk and Facebook.com/Steve M Talk. I tweeted out and put on Facebook that, why did it take the governor 24 hours or all day to issue a statement? Why didn't he come out and meet the press yesterday? Why wasn't anybody fired yesterday? How much did he know and when did he know it? And I got to tell you that after today, I think if the governor's telling the truth, and this is what we've been saying all along, the governor is on terra firma, more so now than ever before. Think about it. Just think about it. I mean, he came out, he took responsibility. He fired someone, 2 people. He said, I was shocked. I had no idea. I did not know. Now, this is going to be easily verifiable. Either he knew or he didn't know. And he says he didn't know. And like I said, saying you didn't know and you had no idea, and this was all news to you, if you had any inkling, is suicide. Political suicide. So I have to believe that he's telling the truth. Yes, like Bob Gordon told us earlier, the Democratic senator from New Jersey. Yes, he's created a culture of all kinds of things, intolerance, zero tolerance, and retribution, and you name it. But that has nothing to do with whether or not he's telling the truth right now, does it? I don't think so, and I don't see how he cannot be telling the truth. But let's go to Paul Mulshine of the Star-Ledger. He might have a differing opinion. Hello, Paul.
Hey,
welcome back. Thank you very much for coming back. Let me ask you something bizarre first off the bat, and whether you have any inkling to this. The Senate held or voted to hold the former Port Authority official, former friend of Chris Christie, whether or not he still is a friend, Mr. Wildstein, in contempt for pleading the Fifth. I asked Kendall Coffey, famed defense attorney, a little while ago, if you could hold someone in contempt for taking the Fifth. He said no. So I don't know what's going on there.
Here's the thing. He was taking the Fifth on things like, what was your last job? Now, I don't know how you can argue that, you can incriminate yourself by refusing to say what your last job was. It was a little odd.
Maybe he was doubling as a hitman, and earlier this morning he did something we shouldn't know about.
Well,
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. There's a theory. I hadn't thought of that.
Last job. It's all semantics. No, I see what you're saying. I don't get that either. But Okay, I didn't know he wouldn't give,
It was some kind of wrinkle I think his attorney figured out, but I just can't see why it was it just makes no sense to. I thought he was going to wait for the hard questions that obviously were incriminating.
Right.
But he didn't. It was like he took more fifths than a drunk in a distillery.
Very good. That's a good one. All right. So let's get to this point. Do you believe Chris Christie?
No.
You don't believe him. Why?
Because, for example, last month, 2 of the bridge employees, under oath before that same committee, it's the Assembly Transportation Committee, by the way, under oath said Wildstein pressured them to shut the bridge and told them not to warn the Fort Lee authorities that the closure was coming, the closure of 2 of the 3 lanes. Now, I didn't think this, like everyone else, I thought this was a tempest in a teapot until then, and then you had to say, wow, this is crazy. I mean, they're essentially saying, don't tell them. And what other motive would you have other than retaliation where you say, I'm not going to tell the mayor, And Christie today was maintaining that he didn't, until he saw those emails, conclude that, that there was retaliation. He said he thought until Wednesday he thought there was a legitimate traffic study, and that's just he's too smart for that.
All right, so let me ask you: you believe that he knew, ordered it, was told by the people like Bridget and Kelly and Wildstein, and knew about it, and is now lying? I mean, you know how easy it's going to be for it to come out that he's lying, and if that happens, he's got to leave the country. I mean, let alone the governor's mansion.
No, I don't think he knew in advance of it. I suspect some of his out of control. Well, Wildstein is appropriately named. He's kind of wild,
Yeah, but it turns out, guess what? It turns out that Christie never really was a childhood friend of his. But anyway, that's another story. According to today.
They were one grade apart. And Wildstein is the one guy who was more politically ambitious than Christie. Christie showed up at Tom Kaine Sr.'s house to start his career when I think he was 16. Wildstein did it when he was 14. They both lived in the same town as Tom Kaine, and incredibly politically ambitious. But I don't think Christie personally ordered it. What I think is on September 17th, his communications director, Mike Druniak, this is the weird thing in this thing.
We only got a minute and a half, so get to it.
The Watergate burglars broke in secret. These guys pinned down, tens of thousands of drivers in traffic, and then they were shocked when the newspapers called and asked about it. Tens of thousands of eyewitnesses, and then from the emails, like, oh my God, the Wall Street Journal is calling about it, and you're like, wait a minute, you seriously thought no one was going to ask?
But who do you think Paul? Who do you think concocted this? Was it Bridget and Wildstein?
Well, it obviously was them. I mean, there's no, and now the question is who else.
Okay.
Yeah, they were in.
And you believe they lied to the governor when he looked him in the face and asked him 2 weeks ago?
Well, that's what bothers me about the governor. The governor, when he knew this thing was getting fishy, he should have been making inquiries on his own. He shouldn't be relying on the Assembly Committee's subpoena to find out what happened. He had plenty of opportunity to find out on his own.
All right, does he survive this? Does he survive this?
But I think it's really knocking his national ambitions down. It's just too funny of a story. It's going to be on the Tonight Show and all that stuff.
All right, Paul, we'll have you back real soon. I appreciate it. I'm up against a hard break. Thank you, Paul Mulshine, StarLedger columnist, says he doesn't believe everything Christie had to say. All right, we're going to talk to Andy McCarthy next on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't you go away. You know better than that.